Why, hello, everybody. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of NBC's number one award winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. I'm your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by my gaggle again. We have the avid reader himself.
Hey guys, Justin Hareld here.
Oh my gosh, we're twins. James Law Jr. is going to be so disappointed that like you're coming for his gig as my chocolate twin.
Oh,
Oh, you know what? Signs that you've been around me far too long is when you give a oh and then a sip of the tea. You have learned way too much. And down at the bottom, all coffeeed up this AM, we have.
Hi everyone, it's Araceli. Happy to be here.
So
It's
listen,
really
as you just heard, I just said this AM. Why? Because I know. You guys are like, oh, they pre-recorded it. Yes, we all have kind of a busy weekend this week, but we still wanted to make sure that we came to you guys and gave you a full dish of what happened this week on Days of Our Lives and allow you guys to be in the chat and chat among yourselves. So forgive us for not being with you live, but I'm so glad that you guys are having a good time in the chat room and talking among yourselves. Just remember, be nice.
yes,
yes.
please.
But also, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and underscore Dishin Days on the Twitter. The at is currently not possessed anymore.
Yay!
We also can be found on your favorite podcast stations. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So take us along on a road trip, run errands, on the treadmill, or bicycling through your favorite city. We are available where all of your podcast stations can be found. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're right here. You're hopefully watching us or watching us later. Click that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that way you will never miss when we're going live and in living color. And of course, make sure you buy our merch. Yes,
Bye,
y'all, we have
merch.
merch. We have shirts, we have towels, we have sweatshirts, we have all of your Dishin Days fun needs. So make sure you go buy yourself something and then, hey, tweet it to us or show us to us, DM us, whatever. It's still morning. And show your support for Dishin Days. So make sure you go to www.dishindays.threadless.com and buy your merch today. And all throughout the show, we want to hear from you. So make sure you give us your comments, comment below, and tell us your thoughts on all the stunt shows and shenanigans that have happened
Yes.
in Salem this week. All
Not
right,
to
you guys.
worry, guys.
What?
I will very much try to be in the chat room tomorrow. Okay, I'd like to pop in when I'm not actually there. Um, you
She
won't
gonna
see
pop
my
in.
face, but
She gonna pop
you'll
in with
see.
2 glasses full of wine.
Oh heck no, guys. I love you guys, but I also want my niece to pass chemistry. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow.
Well, with 2 glasses of wine, you probably will understand the periodic table easier. Oh my gosh, I almost like went to
And
the
like,
chat as if we're
I
doing this
know, I
live.
know. I keep looking over.
Me too. Me too. Well,
See, we miss you guys.
we do. We do. We think
Yeah.
about you guys all the time. Although, before we get into uh, this week's episodes of Days,
Oh, here
I
we go.
do have to say my heart hurts a little bit because the Sin fans came for me
Oh,
all
there
this
we go.
week. Well, not for me, for us. They came for
Yeah,
us. They came for us. And listen, here's the thing. I'm not gonna like discredit how anyone feels. It sucks when like awards come out and like your favorites aren't listed on there, right? But I don't want anyone to feel like it's deliberate.
Yeah.
We literally, between the four of us, have to go through an entire year
Mm-hmm.
of what happened on Days of Our Lives. We literally emailed each other back and forth with lists of like
Yes.
possibilities,
Those were
and
long emails.
yeah, and we try to confine it in a way where it's not too much. we are, you know, looking at everything that happened. We're taking, we're pulling, we're making sense of this, and then finally we come up with a list and we go, okay,
Yeah.
this looks like it works. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
then to receive tweets and stuff with uh, everyone being like, "Meh, meh, 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 meh,
Right.
why? It's kind of like, it makes us feel like our work is in vain sometimes, you know? So, to the Sin fans, you know, we do love Sin.
Mhm.
We recognize
They
what they've
can hear.
done. Yeah, we recognize what they've
Mhm.
done, you know, throughout the year. And that's why last year they won best couple,
Exactly.
like, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
as voted on by
Yeah.
you. So, you know, we're not doing it deliberately. We're sharing the love. We are, you know, because I even tweeted like, hey, like everything is based on 2021. And someone was like, well, they posted that everything is in 2021. It still don't make sense. I still got questions. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Can't win for losing. Like the Dishin Days Awards
Yeah.
is just supposed to
Yeah.
be our fun way of, you know, recognizing our show that we
Mhm.
love specifically. So we're happy with the nominations. I'm sorry some of y'all are not, but the Dishin Days Awards
Yeah.
will continue on and press forward. Make sure you vote for your favorites. Voting will begin soon. Look out for details.
Yeah.
And that is my little soapbox. Did y'all have anything y'all want to say about the situation?
We don't when we come up with the nominees, all the back and forth. One thing we don't do, just so you know, we don't cross-reference them with any sort of fandom. We don't say like, are
Mhm.
the Sin fans, are this fan set going to be mad at us? We don't even get into conversation about that. It really is just about what happened that year.
Yeah.
And if they weren't on that year, they just weren't on. It's not a slight against anyone's
Yeah.
fandom
And
or
we're looking
Yeah.
at the entirety
yeah,
of the year and we're making tough decisions and we're trying to be fair to everybody that's on the canvas.
Yeah.
Okay. I am
and
a big Stan fan myself, but there were other couples who had more screen time, who had longer months
yeah,
together. You
exactly.
know, it is what it is. You know,
Yeah,
yes, if we had couples, you know, that argument goes to, you know, if you had, oh my God, you have to have the same couple every year. Well, John and I have been a part of polls where John and Marlena are, you know, at the top every year.
well, honestly,
Yeah.
half the cast would be in best couple. That, you know what I mean. It's, we look at
Yeah.
it as, for the year. It's not just anyone who was teamed up or who was with someone during the year. It's
Mm-hmm.
their storyline throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and even though we've done all this explanation, someone will still tweet us and say, it still doesn't make sense and this is why. And I appreciate the sin review that I've been getting, where people have gone through the year and said, they went through this, they went through that. What about the Romeo and Juliet? And I'm like, we talked about that. We
Yeah.
did. We
Mm-hmm.
literally went over everything. And it's heartbreaking because then they go, you're biased. And I'm like,
Yeah.
like,
Guys, I'm a Sin fan. Hello. I
but
am
it's
a
not,
Sin fan. And I'm telling you that these decisions are made for a reason.
yes. And also, no shade, but some of y'all who do complain are the ones who fast forward through half the storylines anyway, where we do watch them all. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, we love everybody, despite we love y'all. You know, it's you know, it's received a certain way. I know you guys have great intent, but it's
Yeah.
received a certain way. So sometimes just be mindful of how you say things, and I'm going to be more mindful about how I say things too. So I'm just saying, let's love one another because we love days of our lives. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, shout out
Oh
to y'all.
god.
We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. I can't wait to see what this chat looks like as we're
I
talking about this.
know,
I
right?
cannot wait. Someone is still going to tweet me and say, "You still don't love Sam."
Well, the thing
I just
about it is that people don't, there's no middle ground. You either love Sin or you hate Sin.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and I
it
love
just it,
them. I
the
do.
funny thing is, when I saw those comments, I was like, oh, we did not, like, it didn't even occur to, like, we're just putting our nominations in and we go through the process. And like I said, we don't cross-reference them to be like, do we have Sin this in this category or not? We
Yeah,
don't even, yeah. I was like, oh, we don't have them. Okay, whatever. Like,
mhm.
it is. It is what it is. That's why I
yeah.
gave the good
I
old
mean,
classic Tony Moore.
I mean, thank you for giving that much power to our awards. We appreciate it, I guess. Like
I mean, but it's good. You
that
know,
much energy. Yeah, it's great.
they feel strongly, and so we appreciate that. So
Yeah.
thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Despite everything, we appreciate you. We
Yeah.
love you. We love Sin. We love everybody. Like,
It's all
and
fun. This is fun.
it's all
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So speaking of love, let's talk about this week of days.
Yay.
How did y'all feel about this week? First of
It
all,
was
everyone's probably like, "Ding dong, the devil's
Yeah.
gone, the devil's
Yeah.
gone, the devil's gone, ding dong, the
Yeah.
devil's gone, the devil's gone
Yeah.
today." I don't know why I made it into a country song, but it sounds fitting.
that's not a country song. That's the Wizard of Oz.
But I
Yeah.
sung it with a country twang. Ding dong, the devil's gone, the devil's gone, the devil's gone, ding dong, the devil's gone, the devil's gone away.
Oh my gosh.
This week was good. It was
Yeah.
really. I think we got a lot of different. We had. I think like 3 days of. It was sort of like the devil storyline.
So
Then
we had
a day or two of.
we had 2 days of
and
that
then-
the big stuff that was covered in the promo for last
Yeah.
week, and
Yeah.
then the rest of the week was kind of playing catch up on what the aftermath of all of the other stuff that blew up
Yeah.
before that. And it really does feel, this was a momentous week because it was the conclusion of the devil storyline, but it really did feel like a May sweeps week. And it felt like the writers kept their promise. They're saying like, no, this is going to end. We're
Yeah.
going to conclude it and we're
Yes.
going to wrap it up. And we're not going to wrap it up the same way that we did last time.
Yeah.
I really felt like this week was a good week because it was just interesting to see the end of a storyline and the residue of that, but also the progression of other storylines and how and the direction that we're going with that. Of course, there was a moment of, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, Justin's like, wait,
I'm
what?
like,
What
wait,
happened?
what? Yeah.
We'll get to it. In
Could have
fact,
several things.
let's dive into it now because I'm sure people have probably said, "Come on." All right, so it is now time to start Dishin Days. It was close. It was close. It was closer
Yeah.
than it's ever been before.
Nice.
I appreciate you
I thought it
guys.
was there.
You're doing great. Well, your Wi-Fi was there, so that's always good to know. All right, we said it and forget it. All right, let's talk about everyone's favorite storyline, the devil. We have Al Devil, Baby Bo, Sierra, Ben, Charlie, Johnny, Marlena, Trip, Steve, Kayla, John, Ava, Jake, Lucas, Kate, everybody.
It's a lot.
Was involved in
Yeah.
this.
It's a lot.
So first of all, how do you guys feel about the end of the devil storyline? Now that it's kind of wrapped up, what are your overall thoughts about the storyline?
Like going back to October?
Yeah, I mean, from the return to, the devil hopping into everyone,
Mhm.
The goal of Ben and Sierra's baby, like overall thoughts.
I think that Days, I know everybody harps on, the writers aren't doing this, writers aren't doing that. I think for Days in particular, the writers the past few years have been taking very big swings that haven't been done in daytime. And it's hard to do that in a genre that's been around for decades. But this was a big, big swing. And I think that it paid off very well because it interwove almost everyone on the canvas of every generation, people that were a part of the original storyline, people who weren't. The pacing wise, we didn't get like Mardevil, forever. We got, everybody got to play. I feel like this was a big swing and it really paid off.
Justin, what you think?
For me, I think different from what it was 25 years ago, where it was like this big sort of like, can you believe they're doing this storyline? It's fun and interesting. I think this go round, they focused a lot on not just character development, but really giving the actors something to play with. Like the fact that we had it with Doug first, which like to me just kicked it off in such a great way and really gave God, why am I blanking on his name? Bill Hayes a great way to shine. I loved the Deidre stuff was good, but it was like, okay, we've seen her take this on before. I was more excited about like the Bill Hayes, and then we got it with Lindsay and Carson and a little bit with Martha. And so that's where it really sort of like got interesting for me. I think I like the way that they did it this time. It's like you can't repeat the past, and so don't even try. So yeah, I like the direction they took it. I feel like they really gave the actors something to do. And quite honestly, some of those storylines were getting stale with some of the younger sets. So I felt like bringing them into this one and sort of having the devil sort of wreck their lives in this way, I think made it interesting.
I think one thing that like I was looking forward to actually seeing Marlena possessed by the devil because I missed it. You know, I think I started watching Days shortly after the possession happened, and it's such a huge storyline in Days history, and it's very iconic in the soap world where even if you don't watch Days, it's always like, wasn't there someone possessed by the devil? And throughout this whole storyline, I was very excited. I also felt like it got a little muddled a little bit where we were like, okay, so wait, like, what are we doing? Like, it's fun to see everyone's take on the devil. It's fun to see, like, the devil kind of getting stronger in certain people and things like that, and really just wreaking havoc in Marlena's family. Um, but there was a moment, and I'm sure I said it on here too, where I was like, I'm confused. Like, I don't remember the goal anymore,
Yeah.
you know? But then once I was reminded, I was like, you know what? It kind of now makes sense why the devil, you know,
Yeah.
it's almost like it seemed like it was like, you know, and not a thought and okay, I'm just going to jump into this person, but in actuality, if you really think about the people, it made sense because it caused the havoc that they needed to cause
Yeah.
in order to get to where they needed to get to.
Yeah.
So overall, I was pleased, you know, with the storyline. They definitely took chances. There's definitely, you know, a line in the sand drawn as far as fans who enjoyed it and fans who didn't like it, you know, from the beginning. Um, but one of the things that I think that they did a great job with is keeping faith in the storyline.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was always reminded to always have faith, to believe in God and to say your prayers and you know, in order to defeat the devil. So it wasn't just all about evil and the devil and Satan and everything like that. There really was, you know, that foundation of faith throughout the thing. And so I hope that the fans realize that too, that they kept that in there, you know, whether you're super religious or spiritual, you know, whether you have a relationship with God or not, that was still implemented throughout the storyline. And kudos to everyone, you know, Deidre Hall, Carson Boltman, Lindsay Godfrey, Martha Madison,
I
and
mean Lindsay
even
Arnold.
2 seconds with Lucas Adams and
Lindsay
who else?
Arnold.
Who did I say?
You said Lindsay.
Oh, sorry, Lindsay
Wrong
Arnold.
Lindsay.
Sorry, Lindsay Arnold.
Yeah, we'll talk
But
about her later.
yeah. But they all did a phenomenal job with the devil, and everyone had their own thing that just made the character fun. You know what I mean?
They played with it. Yeah.
So kudos to them.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up faith, Tony, because I think that's why I got so emotional watching the promo for this week.
Now we get an explanation about the teams.
Well, I couldn't understand it. I really couldn't understand it. And then I was watching Monday and Tuesday, and then it I think it was more about the emotion of really wanting to believe that even if you're not a person who is necessarily religious, I think we all have some sort of spirituality in us, and you want to believe that the people that leave, that pass on, are still watching over you in some way. And so I think that's why I got so emotional, because it's like Sierra called out for her dad and he was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you call out for them, and you see a photo, or you see a hummingbird, or you see something. There's always going to be. We all have moments in our lives where we just will be going about our day, and we just see something, or just kind of get this feeling overcome us for no reason, and then it just hits us, and we feel like somebody's watching us, somebody's watching over us.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was, there were some, some powerful moments in that. Like, the fact that, they got to the cemetery and saw what was happening, and like, seeing Ben trying to go through this invisible force field, getting knocked out, and then having Sierra, pray, and then, seeing the light, and God giving her the power to like push through. And only Charlie was like, uh,
right.
boss, we got a problem,
right?
So it was great to see that. Before we really go into it, can I point out how nobody was scared except Trip?
What do you
If,
mean?
if you watch the episodes, right, being around, the devil, or like seeing the stuff that was happening, like everyone just had this face of like,
Trip, if you also think about it, Trip was the only one who actually hadn't had direct interaction with the devil that he knew of.
but still, like, when you saw Trip was like,
I was more alarmed that Trip was the only one who came armed.
Right?
With a baseball bat.
Or
Well,
no one else think of nothing.
Everyone else comes armed with Jesus. Amen.
Why was it?
I mean, at least Eric. I mean, they brought holy water later, but then I'm going, like, everybody who showed up to the cemetery, I'm like, you brought nothing?
Well, part of me was screaming at the, like, when we had that scene with Marlene last week, Marlena, Susan, and Johnny, and he was like, "You can't stop me. I'm going there," and it was like, okay, are you gonna call reinforcements? And then this week it was all like, oh, we sent Johnny there and we're waiting to hear back. And I'm like, what? You like could be dead. Like, why wasn't there like a text message chain of like everybody like assemble at the cemetery? Like, it sort of happened kind of at the end there, but it was like, okay, we're just gonna let Johnny take on the devil by himself. We're not gonna no backup, no,
because that worked out well last time.
Right.
Well, they all assembled in the old choir room at St. Luke's, and I loved when they flashed back to Marlena once again, like setting fire to
I love that scene
the devil, and kind of being symbolic of like, here we are, where it all.
I'm not gonna miss this voice.
I almost told Lindsay Arnold, I was like, you could have done your own voice. Just
oh my gosh.
But okay, and so I text y'all when I was watching the scene. So we finally, Allie is there. We get Trip and Johnny there. Then we get the reinforcements of John, Marlena, and Eric. And so the exorcism was beginning. But I was so tickled by it because, you have John like
John, and that cracked me up when John was like, "We're getting right to this. There's no need to wait."
And they walked in right in prayer,
right?
And I was just like, it was like as soon as they walked in, the Lord is my shepherd, right. And I was just like, oh, okay, like we're like y'all ain't waste no time, and and every now and then you would see Lindsay Arnold as Allie kind of go,
oh God, killing it. Yeah, she would twitch. Yeah. Right.
But I was intrigued, but there were times where I was just like,
or when she was like miming breaking her neck, or I was like, are we doing?
I have to admit that actually did freak me out.
Oh, because you heard that
sound effect or something.
Yeah, that freaked me out for a second.
Because the devil was like, I'm gonna kill her, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But kudos to Lucas Adams as Trip, because the speech he gave about how much he loved Allie and how he was like, take me instead, and the sacrifice that he was about to make, I was like, wow. And then um when he was turned into the devil, you could tell. Like the great thing about these actors is that you can always tell when they're like, okay, now it's my turn to be the devil, and now I can just have fun.
Yeah.
So when he was down and he looked up
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like all of that was just like you
Yeah.
get it, like
I'm
you
excited.
embodied it. But then I giggled it again because he was like, Allie's still gonna die by Tripp's hands, and Marlena was like, no,
Yeah.
and then he like stood up, and then he just said,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
they
I
gave him
was like,
basically the Exorcist ending, which I kind of first I was like, oh, that was it, and then I remembered like, oh yeah, this is just basically like the Exorcist of how you, yeah,
I was
vanquish the
like, not
devil.
him just jumping out the window. I was like, did he steal that move from Kristen?
I'm right.
Yeah, but it was, speaking of, can we give, and I said this repeatedly in our text, we need to give all the kudos to makeup, to
Yeah,
lighting,
great.
to production design, because they just, for Mondays and Tuesdays episode, oh my gosh, did they do a great
Yeah.
job. And we don't always give the people behind the scenes their dues. And like everything was just, it worked in unison so well together. It was great.
You could tell they were proud of that makeup job on Lucas because they refused to clean him up all week. He was just bruised and bloody and bad. And I'm like, okay, he's in the hospital.
Takes,
no one would
you
clean him
wouldn't
up. Like, yeah.
But you wouldn't believe,
No,
but I understand why they did it, because
No,
you
it
wouldn't
takes a
believe how
while.
long it actually takes to do that.
Yeah, no. They're
It
like, we're gonna
takes
get our
it
money's worth. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to, because it takes a really, really long time to do that and get them to like stay to where the point where it's not gonna like come flying off later. So yeah.
But that whole scene was like, it was great. I really hope fans, whether you hated the storyline or not, really paid attention, because there were so many just great moments in that, and to end with such a crash was like was great. And then you know, the moment when Bo revealed himself, and you know, there was the interaction with Sierra and Ben and baby Bo, and it was just like another very tender moment to see. Because I think as fans, look at Araceli, she's already.
I don't know why.
Where's your tissues at, girl?
I'll be okay.
Stand by for tissues. But it was because I think as fans, we wanted that moment for Bo to see Sierra at this age.
Yeah.
We wanted to see how Bo would react to Ben. We wanted to see how Bo would react to baby Bo. And Days gave us that. And it was great. It was beautiful. It was touching. And then for him to be like, I gotta go take care of something real quick. I'll be right back. And like Trip, let's be honest, Trip was dead for about 15 minutes.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He was dead.
Yeah.
Y'all heard about Trip?
Dead.
Yep. But with one touch of Bo, he said, I was like, welcome back.
Now,
I will say, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, before we get into that, I want to, I have a bone to pick with some fandom people who are like, Bo would never approve of Ben. Bo would never say that to Ben. I was like, yeah, if Bo were alive, he would have had the exact same reaction that Hope did when Ben and Sierra first got together. First. That was 4 years ago. You can let it go now.
Yeah. And he's been watching ever since.
He's been watching ever since, just like Hope has. You can let it go now. If Will was willing to stand up and be the guy's best man after he choked him out, I think you guys can ease up a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say this. It was actually funny. I will say there was a moment where I was like, because if you notice, Bo didn't address Ben until the end. And he kept going on, and I was like, "Oh wait, are they?" I thought like, is this a way for them to like acknowledge that point or something? Because because he really didn't say anything to Ben until the
Yeah.
very end before he left, and I started getting worried of like, oh, are they trying to like hint at something here? And then when he did, I was like, oh god, because I know the Sin fans are probably tearing their hair out saying, you know, we didn't get a Bo didn't acknowledge Ben or say anything. So I'm glad we got that.
Yeah.
And for whatever that brings moving forward with Beyond Salem, I don't know, but yeah, it was interesting. I will say I wish we could have had a little bit less Sierra, Ben, Bo, and a little bit more Kayla, Steve, Bo. I think they could have given them a little bit more than just a viewing of him.
I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because once Trip was alive and everything, we cut to Wednesday's episode where Steve is updating Abe. He doesn't really, all he says is that we got our miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't really say that he saw Bo, but when Bo resurrected Trip, it seemed like Steve saw him.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he saw him. I just think telling Abe, he just did it. He just sort of left that out. You know what I mean? Didn't bring up Bo. Was more like, we got a miracle.
Okay, like, because I was almost certain that Steve saw him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I think he did see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was probably still like, probably imagining like everything that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your son just died, you know, and like he was going through those emotions. You got Ava over there being like, oh, so now you finally got what you wanted, Kayla.
Yeah.
You didn't do everything you were supposed to do. He's dead now. Are you happy? Then there was that. And then just that moment of probably him like internally praying and asking for a miracle and then looking up and seeing Bo. I'm sure he was probably like, wait, did I just see, you know, because and maybe there would be a moment with Sierra and Ben and Steve and they you know, and they kind of swap stories or something, you know what I mean?
I hope so, because the look on Steve's face, I think that was almost more of a gut punch.
Yeah, everyone was great in those scenes.
Yeah,
everyone.
Because it was so wonderful to see Ben and Sierra and Bo interact, but like those scenes afterwards when Steve like looks up and sees his best friend, it was like you could see it all over his face. And then when Ben and Sierra are talking about it later, like they almost seem like more emotional than they were when Bo was in the room with them.
Yeah.
They're realizing what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was definitely some strong moments there, you know, and a beautiful moment. I just love how no one is fazed by anything because I feel like, you know, if I was standing somewhere talking with y'all and then like my dad came through, may he rest in peace. I think at some point I'd be like,
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be like,
yeah.
Well, I think if it was just like walking around randomly talking to you, yes, but like it was very much an angelic, you know that he's not alive, he's an angel kind of a thing. And in that moment, you're just happy to see him in any form.
Listen, I get scared when my roommates walk around the corner and I wasn't expecting them. Like, imagine, like, you know, the door opening and like my dad come floating through. I'd be like, "No, you ain't about to take me, player." No, but it was great. It was beautiful. Yeah. I was excited about that interaction. So it was good.
Yeah.
Lucas is in town.
Okay.
Lucas didn't feel the need to return the phone call. He said, "Well, let me just show up."
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the words. I'm sorry. There were all these people who were like, we had so many great scenes this week, not just in the Devil storyline, but in other storylines of people that were really in it, that have been in town. Oh, sorry. I'm here.
Araceli?
I am here.
Oh wow, she's circling.
Oh,
I
really?
am
I
here.
see you're fine.
Oh,
I
you
think it's you.
do? Oh, is
Yeah,
that
it might be
me?
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that might be you.
Was that
yeah,
me? Was
yeah.
I the drama?
As I'm in the middle of my rant.
I know you're like, where'd she go? And I'm like, she's right there. What are you doing? What are you talking about?
Oh my
I'm here.
gosh. I think my internet was the drama. I think
No,
it is
not those other
again.
times. Oh, those other times it was me before.
Okay. Sorry. Go
But
ahead.
anyways, we had so many great scenes and all the storylines this week of people that have been here for months, that have been in it, that have been doing the work.
Mhm.
And I'm just looking around like, where in the freaking heck is Lucas right now? And his explanation was lame. And his reaction was lame. And I just, ugh.
I mean,
He has to explain it too.
I feel like they had to. I mean, we don't know. Allison probably wasn't available to come and do a cameo or something, so they they have to explain it somehow. I guess. I mean, I guess that was the best they can do. I mean, but it also just shows us how we always talk about how Lucas sometimes is underwritten. He's like he should be a bigger focus, and he is at times. And then we get stretches where we don't see him. So I mean, I feel like they kind of did the best they could with what they had.
But even him just walking into the pub and saying, "Oh, what's going on with Allie?" as if he got one voicemail like, "Hey, something's going on with Allie. You should probably come home." I guarantee you, his mailbox was full. And when your
mailbox is full and can no longer leave a message.
And when your mailbox is full like that, that is the point where you pick up the phone and say, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah.
And then someone would say, literally, hell.
Oh my God. Is it me again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
we can still. It's a slight interrupted. We're not really seeing it unless you're talking.
Internet. My internet. Stay strong, honey. Stay strong, internet.
Yeah. Maybe
I
it's the
gotta get through the
weather.
show.
It's kind of a gloomy day today.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say. I just have a lot of questions because I feel like there's more to the story.
Definitely.
Oh, do you guys think it's another kidnapping thing, or do you? Think
I don't. Well, first of all, how are you just gonna pop up in Salem because your secret's about to get exposed, and then like, where's Sammy? Like, there's
maybe. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Johnny and Allie for a second. Because I feel like one more time, let's give Carson Boatman and Lindsay Arnold their dues, their snaps.
Great.
Because I thought that their scenes were great when they were playing the devil, respectively. I'd almost forgotten what it was like for the two of them, just Johnny and Allie, to interact.
Yeah.
And I was really curious to see what would happen once they were both undeviled and just themselves again. How would they, that bond be? And it seems like all is well.
Yeah, I feel like we got a little bit of renewing of like we're twins, sibling kind of love kind of thing. I think how that transpires moving forward is depending on their romantic relationships, which we'll talk about later. But I like seeing them like happy to see each other and like them talking to each other about like I was saving you and then you were saving me, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Well, the devil is gone.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Hallelujah.
Bye, devil. Bye, devil. Praise Jesus. Amen. All right. Well, we done talked like what feels like forever about just the first storyline.
It was a lot.
There was a lot. There was a lot to digest for sure. Let's move on to the next storyline with Eli, Lani, Paulina, Abe, and everyone else. Stay strong, Wi-Fi, stay strong.
Okay.
I feel like my Wi-Fi is trying to get back at me for picking on y'all's Wi-Fi, but my Wi-Fi has to stay strong because I'm the one that's like making sure
Yeah.
this is going on. So if my Wi-Fi cuts out, the show is over.
Yeah.
Speaking of, y'all heard about TR?
Dead.
Yep.
Shot.
I feel like we talked about this last week, but I'm going to ask again. How do we feel about this direction of Paulina taking the blame for TR's death? Lani obviously is like internally like screaming because she knows the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then detectives Abe and Eli
Yeah.
kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
How do
Indeed.
we feel about this? What are our thoughts? What are our feelings? What are
Kind of for me when it happened, I was kind of like, oh, this doesn't make any sense, or I don't know how they're gonna sell this. Like, why is this a storyline?
my poor
Um,
my
You're
but
fine.
as yeah, but as my thinking is, I think
Are
I
y'all
said this
still
last
there?
week.
Yeah, we're here.
We didn't get an interruption.
I maybe when I watch this back, you guys will still be talking, and it's just me
Yeah.
just sitting here with a
Yeah,
blank
that's how
face.
we
Like,
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I said this last week. This just like sort of a big mechanism to get Lani and Paulina mother and daughter officially now, because it seems like 5 minutes after it happened, we have Steve figured it out. Now Abe and Eli are figuring it out, so it doesn't seem like it's much of a mystery. So it's like, okay, well, what's the point of it? And maybe it's just a point just to cement their relationship fully now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not really sure how I feel about. I mean, I'm so glad that TR is dead. Do not miss that man. Honestly, do not miss the character. Just bye bye. I'm not sure I feel any kind of way about Paulina's decision because she's a mother protecting her child. You know, and I said this last week, it kind of feels like she always thought something like this might happen if TR was ever allowed in Lani's orbit. And she probably in the back of her mind always thought that this might be a sacrifice that she would have to make.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the bigger picture is that she just feels like Lani has more to lose than she does. So the mother instincts are kicking in. But we dissected it last week, and I just feel like partly there's still like a way to have defended Lani.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like you walk into a situation where you see someone, someone like laying on the ground in a pool of blood. You see someone in this position, and they like swipe around at you. So like, she easily could have just said, "I walked into the scene. My father was on the ground in a pool of blood.
Yeah.
I look up and see Ray with his hands up as if he was about to strike, my mother. He whipped around, and I instantly just like shot him because I thought that, assessing the situation as quickly felt like everyone was in danger at the moment.
Yeah.
Even though he was unarmed, maybe she didn't notice what was in this hand.
Yeah.
There's so much that could have been said.
Definitely.
Because I was like Rafe when Paulina's told the story. I was like, plus 2 equals 4,
right?
and 5 plus 5 equals 10. How did you get Lonnie's gun and shoot Ray Coates?
I will say she came up with a very plausible explanation very quickly.
I'm glad they finally addressed that and she came up with something, but I'm like, okay, Lani has a better chance with the real story than you do. The fact that she was cuffing TR and you grabbed the gun from her holster and then just randomly was like, I want to kill you. Like, I was like, that sounds worse than the actual story.
Although she also came up with a pretty good counter argument, which is that she is right. Many domestic violence victims do live with PTSD for the rest of their lives. And so she could have easily, in her mind, distorted that the situation was still very tenuous and very dangerous.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not, I mean, I'm really not sure how I feel about what direction this is going to go, but I will say Paulina came up with a pretty plausible lie.
Yeah. And I gotta shout out to Jackie this week. She was actually really good. I just found her in her scenes, especially the ones with Chanel, to be really good. And I know a lot of times people complain, like she's a big personality and goes broad a lot of times, but I felt like this week she really like toned it down, and it was very like a very like clear, straightforward performance.
Well, Jackie knows how to be a mother.
Yeah.
She is all about that mama bear instinct. Just when she tunes into that, she shines.
Yeah.
And she played into that really well with those two young women.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it was hard to watch, but it was beautiful.
Yeah. I do like the fact that Lani decided to tell Eli the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, I really need to WebMD getting shot in the head and recover, because unless Bo went in Eli's room and he got touched by an angel too, Eli is wandering around University Hospital like ain't nothing happened. Like he just got a flesh wound.
Yeah.
WebMDing anything in soaps is a bad idea.
Too funny.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, I did love when Lani told him, and I thought it was an interesting contrast this time, because we've had this. I thought that maybe they were going in the same direction with the Kristen storyline before, where she helped Kristen escape and kept it from Eli, and that was a thing. I was like, oh, were we just repeating that now with this? But I like that she told him, and I was actually really surprised that he was like, okay, like let Paulina take the rap. I was like, oh, this is an interesting turn for Eli, because he's always been. The one thing about him is he's always been about the law and following the law in this sense. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is sort of where he will draw the line when it comes to like against TR for Lani. So
yeah, that's another thing I'm not sure how I feel about. But it is what it is. I feel like they're all kind of making separate decisions. And I think what I'm waiting for is for Abe to figure it out. And I feel like once Abe figures it out, then maybe he will be whatever he says, they'll go with.
Yeah.
I mean, they're close to figuring it out.
Yeah, I mean, they just need Lani to confirm. Well, she did.
She did to Eli, but they quickly put the puzzles together in a meeting in the. I mean, they were visiting each other like they were in college. Like, hey, what you doing in your dorm room? So, but it'll be interesting to see, how this develops and where this goes and what that means for. I mean, listen. Eli and Lani have already been through enough with, the death of their first baby, David, to discovering that, Abe is not Lani's biological father, to the return of Paulina, and then the addition of Chanel, and then the twins being kidnapped. And like, we
kind of forgot that happened.
Right.
Yeah. You know why we didn't forget that happened? Because this week we went through a whole year of all the storylines to give you nominations for Dishin Days. So they've been through a lot. So maybe it's time for them to resurface on the canvas and see what happens. All right, let's move on to the next storyline, which is Xander, Sarah, Maggie, Nicole, Eric, and Rafe. I am just going to go ahead and say this. I love the fact that Sarah is back. I love Xander and Sarah. However, Xander, how are you going to make the mistake again? Like, how were you going to keep this up? Whose baby were you going to snatch up to pretend to be how?
It was bad all around.
it was just kind of like you
just like
quickly was just like, oh, I'm just gonna lie, and it's like, but there's no baby.
Yeah.
Who, who,
yeah.
how
I mean,
you gonna? You can't. How you gonna? How?
there's
What?
literally actually no even baby, like not even other baby, because if you recall, the Mickey, aka Brady and Kristen's daughter,
Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel, is now again. It has been years. She's a toddler now.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not a baby anymore.
And also, I feel like they didn't get in. I mean, of course, we know why now, but they still didn't get into the how many years. Like you said, like she's a toddler. It's been years. It's not like it happened 6 months ago, or like I mean, even the getting stabbed with Kristen that was over a year ago. So we're going back
Yeah,
now a few years. We're basically going back to the duration of the time jump, or right before the time jump. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's how long it's been. So she would be what, not maybe not even a toddler, like what, 4 years old,
Yeah.
four,
Yeah.
almost 5 years old. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, she's a little girl now.
I'm
Um,
glad it seemed like Eric said something though. I mean, I guess that's the impression we got.
yeah,
And yeah, it seemed
yeah.
like,
He
which
told
I
her.
was like, finally, like someone needs to tell this woman. Like she's
Yeah,
literally running around from house to house, being just as confused. Like,
but you know what? I appreciated. I appreciated Nicole's reaction more than I appreciated Eric's, because oh no, Tony cut out. Okay, we're just gonna keep going
yeah,
until Tony comes back because we're, at least here we're okay. So it seemed like Nicole was giving Xander the benefit of the doubt, where
yeah,
she just kind of looked at him. She didn't look at him as the bad guy in the situation again. She
mhm,
looked at him like I looked at him, like, you freaking lovable dummy.
yeah,
Yeah, like he was just, hey, Tony's back, yay. Yeah, like she looked at him as the lovable dummy that he is, like thinking like, okay, I actually have some empathy for you. I see why you're doing this, but this is not a good idea. This is not sustainable at all. Whereas Eric just still treated him like trash. And I would like to remind Eric that Xander is not the reason your marriage fell apart.
hmm.
Everybody wants to blame Xander, and yes, Xander was a piece of the puzzle, but he was not the main reason that Eric and Nicole split. And I would really like Eric to stop living in that fantasy.
I will say I was okay with Eric sort of catching an attitude with Xander. Also, I think just because it had to do with Mickey, and it was sort of like, listen, like I had to remember myself, like, oh, this is his daughter too that he lost, and
Yeah.
that we kind of forget about that because him and Sarah
Yeah.
were so short lived. But it's like you're bringing all this stuff up and you're asking him to lie. There was no light bulb moment where it was like, listen, I know this is hard for you. This is your dead daughter as well.
Mm-hmm.
But can you kind of work with me here? I felt like there wasn't any of that. It was more like, okay, this is Sarah's baby. We need to protect Sarah. Let's come up with some, go along with this scheme. And it was like, okay, you're talking to the father of the dead child.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess in Xander's mind, Eric never really spent any time with Sarah. He was the one that was there with her throughout her pregnancy.
Mm.
So even Sarah, she acknowledged, when everything blew up at the time, while Sarah acknowledged that Eric was Mickey's father, it always kind of felt like Xander was the one there with her.
Well, truth be told, because they lied to Eric, because,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, he was there because they were lying and he didn't know he had a child, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a mess and it wasn't sustainable.
At the end of the day, Xander, the quick thinking to just, perpetuate the lie was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm glad Eric was just kind of like, let me tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because like Nicole was saying, like basically, what she was getting at to him was like, it's not a good idea. Like
Yeah.
this lie it's bigger than like just
It's bigger than it
you
was the
lying to
last time.
Sarah. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, imagine how more hurt she's going to be if you keep this up for so long and maybe we all play along. No, it's like And Maggie kept trying to reiterate, she forgave you then, she'll forgive you now. And it's like all that is
Yeah.
still in her. So like
Yeah.
Give her
I
the
hope it
chance.
make it make sense. I
Yeah.
hope it does. Because everybody was looking at Xander
Yeah.
like,
Well, he was really just being a dummy at this point. But I get
yeah.
it. I get it. I totally get it because they've been through so much since then
Yeah.
that he was really just so desperate to protect her in the way that he couldn't protect her when Mickey died. He couldn't protect her from Kristen. He couldn't, he's been bending over backwards trying to get the real Sarah back. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, Bo, where you at? Anyway, so let's move on to
Who goes
our
around
tidbits.
Salem fixing everyone's problems?
I feel like that should be the new thing. If you have a problem, call Bo.
Bo has more. I feel like Bo has more important things to do in his afterlife.
Oh god.
No, he can come around and you know what? Beyond Salem season 3, Bo Brady, touched by an angel.
That's my angel. Oh god.
All right, before we get into tidbits, everybody, we want to
Owen
quickly
Sat as
remind
his
you
partner.
guys. Right. We want to quickly remind you guys before we get into tidbits, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're already here. And follow us on all social media platforms. Listen to us on your favorite podcast stations. And of course, buy our merch. And hopefully, throughout all this, you have been telling us your thoughts about all of this, all the things that have happened in Salem. Sorry about the technical issues. I hope that while you guys are watching, that it's still clear on your end because on my end, it look a mess. So hopefully it is all through. If it's not, we apologize. We just gonna keep forging through.
Yep.
All right, so move on to Jan, Shawn, Belle, and John. Jan, I love Jan. I love Jan. I do. She crazy, but once again, it's kind of like, girl, it's not about you and this baby.
Yeah.
Like, Shawn is at the police station on a hunt for Allie Devil and Sierra's baby, and she's like, but I want a cheeseburger. It's like, girl, if you don't Uber Eats that cheeseburger and
I
send
know.
it-
Why was that not an option? Why was delivery not it? Why would they're writing Shawn
Because
really
she's
weird?
because she
Jan.
wants Shawn. She wants Shawn to know.
But why is he going along with it?
That's
Yeah, that's the
That's my
yeah.
oh my god. So people were asking why, there were some people this week that were asking why Bo didn't also pay a visit to Shawn. I personally was wondering why he didn't mention Chelsea, but we'll talk about that another time. But the reason I think that there was no Shawn interaction because Bo would have come up here and he would have found a way to smack his kid upside the head like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I think they're trying to pose it as like he has more, like he has love for this kid.
Yeah.
And it's just
No.
attached to Jan
No.
that he's,
No.
I
No.
said that's how they're trying to pose it.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
say this,
And I would get that. But it's like, your nephew was kidnapped. The devil is running around town. And this woman wants a cheeseburger.
She wants a cheeseburger. Listen,
That-
I get it.
No.
When I want 2 pieces and a biscuit, you will fight tooth and nail for
Like
it.
it's like every time I think he can't. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call it like I say it. Every time I think he can't get more stupid, he does. Because we had that nonsense at the beginning of the week, and then we had the nonsense at the end of the week where she just casually says, "Oh, maybe I could babysit your nephew," and I'm like,
It's like, what?
"You gotta be freaking kidding me!"
And it's all a part of this plan because remember she had like called Belle on Shawn's phone.
Yep.
Oh, I understand it from Jan's perspective because Jan is Jan. This is all a big manipulation to her.
Is there anyone that kind of wishes that we did have a 180 with Jan and this baby? Hold on. My Wi-Fi is
We can hear you.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
I couldn't hear you guys. So I'll reiterate the question again. Do you guys wish that Jan had a 180 with the baby instead of just acting like regular Jan?
A little bit. I still think that this situation is going to be a little bit different in terms of Jan's sort of schemes and stuff, because I think now she has an actual child growing in her. I think, and even this week she actually mentioned Claire, which I kind of thought was nice because it shows that she does have some feelings, even if she uses the person. There's the idea that she still has somewhat feelings for them and cares about them, and I think with this baby it'll be a little different. I think she's starting off with the sort of manipulation, but I think she will come to have some not sort of realization or a full change, but I think this baby will have an effect on her than anything else we've seen of her in the last 20 years.
No.
Well, listen, it's already making a dent on Shawn, who is the responsible.
Because Shawn's a dum-dum.
Yeah. Also,
he's a dum-dum. You know how I know this? Because this is literally exactly what she did 20 years ago. This is the exact same thing. Do we forget that when she was pregnant the first time, and that was not his kid, but he volunteered to say that he was a kid because he felt sorry for Jan. And what happened with that? She started to manipulate the situation, and then it just got worse and worse and worse, and he ended up in a cage. It is a mistake to trust anything Jan Spears says.
Yeah, I wish this was a different plot line that didn't make him seem so silly and kind of nonsensical. I feel like they could win a different way to sort of, if the goal is to push them together and push him and Belle further apart, I feel like they could have been a little bit more intelligent about how they did it. Because some of the stuff is just, it doesn't make sense even from Shawn's point of view. Also, he's been a dad before. He doesn't need a crash course in changing. He's already done that. So this idea of will babysit baby Belle to get.
And she's supposed to be going back to prison after this kid is born. Let's not forget that. You can't have a baby in prison. Yeah. So it's like, why isn't he setting her straight? Saying, well, you want the nursery and all that, but you're going back to prison once you have this kid.
Yeah.
It's at every turn, he just makes the dumbest mistakes and says the dumbest things, and he's indulging her. And I don't blame Belle one bit for just wanting to tear Jan's hair out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad Belle is there to remind him of just how dumb the whole situation is, with all of her looks and eye rolls. Are
you kidding me now?
Yeah.
It wouldn't. It's bad enough as it is. It's worse when you consider it's the same crap she pulled 20 years ago. Same thing.
Yeah.
Tony froze.
Oh.
Oh, such is the day.
I'll bring up the
next up we have.
Next up we have EJ, Chad, Gabby, Lishan, and Jake.
Lishan and Jake. Well, remember we had said that we did want more Lishan, so we're getting our wish.
Yeah, we're getting him, which is good. Yeah. I like him. I don't know about this budding romance with Gabby. It sort of muddles things a bit.
It muddles things, but we desperately needed her to move on from Jake.
Yeah, if that's what she's doing.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
It was a retcon, I think, after they killed off Stefan. But it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, I wish it had, but it doesn't make sense on paper. It doesn't make sense for who the characters are. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
She needs someone at her level.
Yeah. I'm liking, before we get to the boardroom scene, I like EJ and Chad coming together. I still, as much as I understand they're going with Chad being guilty, I don't really understand why he would be guilty of all this sort of tepid history he's had with EJ. To me, it makes sense. It would make sense for him to be like, listen, I did EJ wrong. That's all cleared up now. And let's just move forward and consider it even. You know what I mean? I feel like EJ has done so much to him over the years that for him to have this tremendous guilt about it, and for him to it's welling inside of him. Like he's about to tell it sort of every 5 minutes. Is like, okay, you did the guy wrong. He's out of jail. Everything is sort of cleared up now. I feel like that's one of those things you're like, okay, I can dismiss it. I mean, I'm sure it'll come back up another time, but it's like, I just don't get the tremendous guilt he's sort of racking with. I don't think it makes sense for their history.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that there's like a reason. Because like right now they're painting the picture of like the brotherhood is coming back together and and all this stuff, and there's no secrets because he
Yeah, I
said
know.
that.
I know, right?
And Chad's sitting over there like,
Um,
but there's one secret.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I'm all for the Demiras like getting back together and being like and having like a stronger bond like the Demiras usually do.
mhm.
Will they please just decide who's supposed to run Demira and not everything?
Yeah.
Oh, this constant board meetings. It's just it's getting too much. It's too much.
It's
And too many people have shares who are not in town.
right.
Not mad about that. At least is the more realistic part of it, that the family of this company would have shared. Like, at least that's somewhat realistic. But
Yeah, but still.
I just want to see the people. I want, like, bring back Peter, bring back Steven, or bring Steven, I guess. Like, you keep reference now. This is the second time they brought these people up in relation to like owning parts of Demira. Like, bring them into the fold. Like, at least make that part of it interesting. Like,
Even if it's just for a day.
yeah. Why can't we get Steven? Like, yeah, we should have these characters honestly on the canvas anyway, but
It just would be nice to like actually see the board when the board is called and not just like the same players all the time. I mean, even just hearing Peter's voice, like
Yeah.
hey, like it's just something I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But then,
I'm just exhausted with the
yeah.
back and forth about who's the CEO of Demira. It's like either learn to work together with or someone has to step in and be like, so this is how we are going to structure Demira here on out.
And leave it at that and have people be fine just being an executive. Or like, I think because we come from, and I know we always complain about the business or but I think, well, especially us three and Michael too, we come from watching when they actually did realistic business storylines, and it was interesting, and you incorporate it into the characters and their plots. Now it's all about who wants to be CEO, which is never really realistic, and it's just a musical game of cheer.
Well, you think of like back in the day, it's like Stefano was always at the helm. Victor was always at the helm. And it seems like ever since Stefano died and Victor stepped back, we have this constant back and forth.
These siblings can't get it together. No.
It's just not needed, yeah.
I'm just happy that Shin is a part of it.
Yeah.
Hey, we love him.
So I'm thinking Kristen is gonna go with Gabby for some reason. I think that's because otherwise, why would they include that? Because Chad and EJ were already winning. So I think this is like maybe her revenge against the family for not helping her last time. Because we know Chad did it, and we know sort of EJ was like, I got my own problems. So
you mean she's gonna be mad that her brothers didn't back her up when she kidnapped one of their wives?
Yeah.
Question: who would you rather see as the CEO? Chad and EJ or Gabby and Jake? Justin.
Ooh. Oh man.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I would be fine with Gabby taking the helm. I don't know what Jake is doing there. What is he doing?
I think Jake has proven himself from grease monkey to corporate tie.
But it's like
I don't mind Jake as like executive.
Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense.
Doesn't make sense, but I don't mind him as an executive. I actually really liked that stretch where Gabby was running Demira, and I liked her in that position, and yeah.
I mean, my vote's for Gabby as well.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but it's just like make it make sense.
Also, one thing I don't know if this was a continuity error, but when she was talking with Li Shin, she was talking about Gabby Chic, which Titan still owns. So I was like, wait, are they retconning that? Because remember, Titan owns Gabby Chic.
That's true.
Yeah, and when they brought that up, I was like, wait, why are they bringing up? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Like I said, make it make sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see next week with what happens. Hopefully, they get a steady CEO because right now that company is unstable. And if I were working there, I'd be like, you know what? Don't worry about laying me off. I'm gonna lay myself off.
Well, it's like if you're think about it, if you're an employee, like you don't know who your boss is half the time.
It changes every 3 weeks.
I'll be
Yeah.
like, listen, I'm still gonna turn in a time card, but I'll be at the house till y'all figure this out. So and then last but not least, we have Johnny Chanel, Ali Tripp. It looks like with this, the pairs are the original pairs are getting back together. So Ali and Tripp and Johnny and Chanel. Do we think that everything is over between Chanel and Ali, or
Oh no.
is it going to be? Are we going to be back to the circle again?
I don't necessarily think it's over, but I honestly would be okay if they came together and had a talk and just went back to the original pairings. I'm kind of okay with that. I'm not interested in another go round of these four switching partners again.
Yeah.
I think I'd be okay with just Ali with Tripp and Chanel with Johnny, at least for a while. And then if something comes up later on, fine. But I'm not interested in the musical chairs with them again. I feel like so much has passed.
I would be okay with the musical chairs under one condition. I think one of two things needs to happen. They either all need to get in a room, all four of them, and be honest with each other about everything that's happened.
I thought that was going in a different direction. I was going to say, how?
No, that did get your mind out of the gutter. Or they need to go to therapy with Marlena.
Oh God, imagine that session.
No,
Can they please find somebody else other than Marlena? Because
no, this is the perfect time when her skills as a psychiatrist need to be utilized.
Somebody else at University Hospital can do that. I'm not going to sit there and talk to my grandmama about.
I don't just mean Ali and Johnny. I mean all of them. It's a mess.
Exactly. I don't want my grandmama in my mess.
She's been in it before. She's not like other grandmas. She's not. No. Yeah. But it's yeah, I would be okay with that. But again, you see the core four. I have no preference. Again, we're back to where we were, and I don't feel one way over the other because
you're fine with wherever the chips may fall. You're fine.
Yes, because they've all been through so much. They're all finally being honest with each other. You know, everything's on the table, and they're all acknowledging that, oh my God, this is a freaking mess.
Listen, bring in Stephen Hawke, bring in Joy Wesley. Like, let's mix up these four. They're getting too stagnant. Let's bring in these other people. They're sort of their only, like, not teen scene, but you know, they're their only sort of age group. It's like we need more here.
Yeah, but I don't have a preference. I just want everybody to be happy because they're, you know, they've been through a lot. It was not their fault. And unlike their parents who keep making stupid mistakes over and over and over again, you know, they reacted this whole year was a big reaction to really kind of seismic big things, you know, and many things that were out of their control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see who ends up with who, but whoever ends up with who, Araceli will be very happy with that. Just love who you want to love the one you with. All right, so that has been our week of Days of Our Lives. It is now time to go into our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official Three Snaps Award. Oh, snap. Okay, so listen. My Three Snaps Award goes to someone that sometimes you have to call upon when you're in dire need. God. God has saved many of people this week. He saved the baby. He gave the powers to Sierra. We had to call upon him and his strength to defeat Satan himself, and he sent one of his angels in the form of Bo Brady. So, God, for descending upon the city of Salem, you get Tony's official Three Snaps Award.
Oh snap!
Heavenly Snap. Amen. All right. And we don't have a caption that this week because Michael Mattis is not. Oh my God. We didn't even acknowledge the fact that this whole time, didn't even acknowledge the fact that Michael Mattis is not with. Michael Mattis is
Sorry.
busy this
Yeah.
weekend. Lumberjack Michael Mattis was like, you know what? I got things to do. We were like, we got things to do. We gonna do it. We gonna pre-record it. He said, I still ain't got time for that.
Still
So
ain't
he'll
got
be
time for the pre-record.
so he'll be back next week with us and with the caption that. But we're going to move things along with those were the days.
All right, this week those were the days. Taking you back to May 17, 1993, where we had the infamous introduction of one Miss Kristen Blake, soon to be Kristen Blake Tamira. She was a woman who was being attacked, who John happened upon, who was being mugged and sort of saved her life. And this was back when Kristen was a sort of goody two shoes social worker who John was falling for. And if you didn't see this original scene but think it looks familiar, it's because when Kristen returned in the early 2000s, she falsely recreated the scene so that John would save her again and sort of get on his good side. So May 17th, 1993, we had the introduction. This was the introduction of sort of goody two shoes Kristen Blake back then.
And those were the days. And now it's time for It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to our angel from above, who still knows how to kind of like not scold someone, but say, hey, I'm still me.
Please
don't call me sir.
Yeah, very Bo.
I didn't like being called sir when I was alive. I don't like it when I'm dead.
We're just going to leave it at that. And that was It's a Gift. And now it's time for some news and gossip.
Yes, starting off, we have a Daytime's Hottest Hung VIP party that you can take part of here in LA, courtesy of Star Image Entertainment, taking place Saturday, August 27th of this year. Tickets information, Star Entertainment Eventbrite. Some of the stars taking part: Paul Telfer, Dan Furigal, Eric Martzoff, Rob Wilson, Brandon Beamer, and Lamone Archie. This is a very intimate sort of VIP party. I believe it's only 30 guests, and there are definitely about 4 or 5 slots left. If you're interested and are in town, please take advantage. It should be a fun time.
Now, just to forewarn y'all, before y'all go look at the prices of these tickets, it's expensive.
But you're going to get your one-on-one time with Day's Hottest Hunks.
Yes, you decide if it's in your spirit to go do it.
And next up this week, we have a real treat. We are interviewing some of the Emmy nominees of Days of Our Lives, live interviews. This week, all Pacific Standard Time, we have Lindsay Arnold on Monday the 23rd at 11:45, Marcy Miller on Tuesday at noon, Stacey Hyduke also on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find these interviews. Should be a really good time. And tune in.
Yes, make sure you tune in to talk to your Daytime Emmy nominees, and we hopefully will have the other nominees as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And now it's time to show you a sneak peek as to what's coming up next week on This Week on Days of Our Lives.
This coming week.
Just roll the clip.
Raise a glass. The devil is gone. And the real heat is on.
I need to settle down with a nice girl.
I don't think I match that description.
EJ's trying to steal my wife.
Ooh.
Yes!
Wow.
Yes!
They're going there.
I'm like Susan. Hallelujah. Devil's gone. Let's get back to some soapy goodness, some summer loving.
But is the devil gone? Because there was a lot of devilment happening in that clip.
Well, I mean, just because the devil's gone doesn't mean that people don't do some hot and steamy and sinful things.
Yeah.
Listen, you know who we need? That okay. All right. Well, we're gonna see how everything unfolds because this looks like a hot, steamy week. Close your eyes, Jesus. So it's gonna okay. I'm liking some stuff. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. But that's been our week. That's it. We made it through. Hopefully there were no glitches on your end. Sorry for the technical difficulties again. Michael Mattis will be back with us next week. I will not be here. So Justin, Araceli, and Michael will be holding down the fort. And on June 5th, that is? Yes. June 5th, we will not have a show as well because Days will be preempted that week a lot and there will only be like 2 episodes. So we're going to take a break too. So I won't see you guys for 2 weeks, but make sure you tune in next week for another recap. But before we officially head out, Justin Hareld, where can they find you on your favorite social media platform?
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Oh wait, that was Michael Mattis usually does this, and so I totally forgot the cue. So do it again.
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Just on Instagram?
Yep, only there. I'm like that VIP party. Not everywhere. You do not have access to me.
Araceli, we done paid our ticket and got our meet and greet wristband for you. But where can we find you?
You can find me exclusively on Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
Exclusively, only on the Twitter. Well, you can find me everywhere at Lounging with Tony. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of it. Just find me at Lounging with Tony. What'd you say?
I said laying it low, spread it wide.
How dare you?
I saw that Instagram. I saw that Instagram post video you just put up before we started.
Well, first of all,
laying it low, spread it wide.
First of all, the person who told me to put it up was. So I got. Approval.
Oh, you got his approval for that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Praise God.
Go check it out, folks.
You guys can also find all of us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and _Dishin Days on the Twitter. And of course, find us on all of your favorite podcast stations. And hey, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. So that way you don't miss out on anything. And of course, buy our merch. And this has been Dishin Days for this week. Make sure you tune in next week for another full dish of this week's episodes of NBC's #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Until then, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you always, and we will see you next Sunday. Same bat time, same Days channel. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.